Hey Cancer, this is Christelle Martinette, and I'm here with a bonus reading. It's on finances for from now until the end of the year. What I'm more or less, because timing is always so difficult, but this is like a 6-month period, more or less. I have here a stone that I will be using as a focus, and it is jade. And jade is the symbol of aristocracy, of otherworldliness, and it's an extremely lucky stone for us, especially for readings of this kind. Now, I'm using the Intuiti tarot. I have only the major arcana here that I'll pick from. And the Intuiti tarot is a deck that was created by Italian researchers in a university in Milan in the north of Italy. And they studied all different tarot traditions and fabricated this creative tarot deck that they call. But there are more than the 78 normal number of cards in the tarot. So I think it's 86 or something like that. So let's get started. And I'll show you these before I then get the, all right, let's see what this is. Let's see what they are. Okay, let me show you them. All right, this is the fourth. This is the great steel. It's like the stem of a flower, similar to a stem of a flower. The great steel, the fourth arcana, let's say. This is the 11th, which is called by these producers the energetic power. I do hope there's extra light here because the sun is in front of a window. And the last is I'll just pull 3 of this deck, is the scepter of elements. It's the number 1. Now, let's start with the 4. All right, so now this great steel is, it represents awareness. It represents full awareness of male-powered, made concrete in the material world. And that speaks volumes for you, Cancer. This is the pressure of authority. This is the pressure of its authority. That it's possible to perceive this power in the surrounding space. It gives us, it recalls to us the picture of, or the figure of the father considered as the head of the family, a very strong male power, majestic, no longer young, you are mature, he dictates the rules that govern the world, and he doesn't allow for any infraction of those rules. His rigid, his precise way of operating can lead him to a static nature that ultimately prevents him from his certainties and calling into question his certainties, a loss of control then. He doesn't dream, all right? So Cancer, beware. It's not a moment of dreaming, but acting logically. This is what the card is telling you. You appreciate and respect hard work because you know that the greatness of hard work is reached slowly, one step after another. So we have clear in our minds now, Cancer, how you think about money. It's something that you work toward. It's something that you put together, and it's something that makes you feel strong. So you are a person who has the ability to save, and it looks like this is a period that is pushing you in that direction. Now this card, the 11th card, is the energetic power card. If we think of our energies, Cancer, our strength, our force, as if they were demons living inside of us, we realize that we have to fight 2 different battles, all right? Those against the internal beasts with their paws, and those outside where we have to direct the beasts, we have to control the beasts. The flower is the feminine grace. So we have this male energy and now this feminine energy. This is feminine grace that dominates those demons and resolves those internal conflicts in order to fight better the external ones. It's not a question of necessity, but of preparation, Cancer, of being calm, of waiting. as it's as if it were the hand of a woman holding the flower, and that's refining our strong, ferocious energies and concentrates them, calms them, in order to make them then explode out into the real world. So you've got this yin and yang energy, and that creates a balance. But now let me show you this other card. This is, and you are very, very lucky, Cancer. Extremely, extremely lucky. We've got this number 1 tarot card, and it's called the Scepter of Elements. This is the flame that hasn't been lit, the morning light bringing itself all the hopes of day that has not completely passed yet, in which anything can happen. You have the impression that anything can happen. It's the beginning, the power before action. So we're talking of very strong financial power here, Cancer. The Magician, this is the card that's also represented as the Magician number 1 in other tarot decks. The Magician playing with the elements, the child bringing in his eyes the dreams of thousands of possibilities. So added to these two, we now have those dreams coming in, what was lacking with the logical sequence of ideas that you had to govern your finances. And this is the dreams of thousands of possible existences. In the Scepter, there are all the premises for a life which is going to become true. It has in itself the joy of illusion. Now remember that, the joy of illusion, which can easily turn into the illusions of joy. A play on words, but not necessarily so. This card tells you, Cancer, that it's not, all that glitters is not gold. Okay? All that glitters is not gold. And what we mean by that is that, sure, you can count your pennies. Sure, you can control them. Sure, that you can appease your beasts within. But at the end of the day, it's not only about your finances. All that glitters is not gold. I'm going to take this tarot deck, which is more of a conventional tarot, and spread these around the Intuiti tarot, and see, my natural light is fading, as you can see, at least from this window. So let's see. All right, now, beautiful and controversial. Beautiful and controversial. We've got the 4 of Cups. 4 of Cups, incoming card. Then we have the 6 of Wands. This is the card that everyone wants to see in their tarot readings. The 2 of Coins. Juggling 2 different powers. Juggling like those 2, the steel and the flower that we saw before. Juggling. Then we have the 9 of Wands, and they do become heavy, and they do become weighty. There is a cross to bear there. There is a cross to bear, definitely. Then we've got the 5 of Coins. The 5 of Coins here we know, it talks to poverty, and it's mirroring the 6 of Wands, which is success. We have the ability to reach success. And the other side of that boundary is failure, of course. Here we have the Hanged Man, who invites us to turn around, just like the main message tells us that all that glitters is not gold. Now, let me take a look at the different relations between these cards. And I'm going to take another tarot from under the deck on that side, and then on this side. And, you know, it's interesting because we've got the 5 of Cups and the 10 of Wands, which is the end of a difficult cycle. It's the end of those crosses to bear. Look, Cancer, it seems that you are playing against yourself. You're playing against the demons that are trying to be dominated within, preparing for them, and then ultimately exploding out into the real world, trying to, contain those ferocious energies that we mentioned before, and harnessing that energy and using it to become successful in the external world. Now, of course, the clarity of the spread is very, very knitted. It's bright. We can see it. We do have the Hanged Man, and the Hanged Man is mirroring the card of the Two of Coins, and it is talking particularly about changing, and particularly about, you're not going to see it. This is why, it's interesting, because you alone, Cancer, will not see it. If you are watching me, please take heed of this message, because it's inviting you to remember that all that glitters is not gold. There are relationships, there's family, there are emotions, there are, so the finances is something that, yes, you can control logically to a certain degree, because they can control you, as the underlying message here tells you. Do not let yourself be controlled by your finances. And do not let yourself be controlled by your controlling efforts. There is this Five of Coins, and the Five of Coins typically indicates a situation of poverty. Usually I like to see this as emotional poverty, but this is a coins card, and for all intents and purposes, we do have to remember that. There is also the Six of Wands, which does speak volumes about success. That is there. It's there. It's right there, Cancer. And it's at an arm's length. We can grasp that. The Jade here is sort of rooting in your favor. Come on, Cancer. Remember that, they're just green pieces of paper with writing on it. And there are a lot of messages here specifically to people who have trouble letting go of control. And this may manifest in many different ways. One of the ways that control takes over is when you feel like you are growing old. It's a state of mind. Okay, you're growing old. Oh, but I'm only 50. Yes, but I've got to think about my future. And then everything you do goes in that direction. Or you're 65, you're 67, you're 70, you're getting into your 60s, early 60s, and you start to think, well, I've got to put away something, because who's going to take care of me? And that eases you into a state of turning in and no longer extending yourself. And so it's sort of a warning these cards are for you, Cancer. They're saying, hey, Cancer, all right, you want to put away some pennies for your pension, for your retirement fund, for your little house on the prairie that you're thinking of retiring to, or you want to create a fund for your grandchild, or you want to put your children through college, or. There's so many things that you could do. But remember that there is only one of you. And are you thinking of yourself? I remember my sister works for an airline, and she always said that their initial training, every time they go through training, but the initial training was, they said, put on your face mask first, because if you don't put on your face mask, you can't help others. So the thing is that if you can get away from controlling the outside, put on that face mask, Cancer, and stop wanting to make things right and perfect, because it will work against you. Remember the Six of stories. I was going to say the Six of Wands, which is that success, and the Hanged Man, which invites us to see things differently, because there are going to be changes. There are going to be changes. I do hope this was of help to you, Cancer friends. Do write to me below the video and tell us a little bit about your finances and how this resonated. And I'll be back. Come and visit me live on my channel. It's on my YouTube front page. The 16th is a Q&A and I'll be answering your questions live. And this 22nd of August that I mentioned already, Sushant Singh, I'll be channeling his soul. He recently passed away, and in the news, especially these days, there's so much controversy. There are a lot of investigations behind the scenes with relatives, old girlfriend, current girlfriend, past wife, and things like that. His father is all these things. But it's interesting because it's right in the news now. Namaste, and until we read together again. Bye bye, Cancer.